This video is about converting between fraction form, decimal form, and percentages. Back and forth between any of those three. Reasoning, not memorization. Use what you already know about fractions, decimals, and percents to convert between these forms. Try not to memorize steps. Don't memorize steps. Just use what you already know to try to reason your way through these different conversions. So decimal to fraction. Now, if you can read a decimal in standard form, then you have already converted it to fraction form. If you read this number as 0.027, then the fraction form is not obvious. But if you read this as the mathematician I know you are, this is read 27 thousandths, then you have just read your fraction. 27 thousandths. Percent to fraction. The definition of percent is per 100. This little symbol just means divided by 100. So 8% means 8 per 100, which is 8 hundredths. 75%, 75 hundredths. 259.3507, 259.3507 divided by 100. Don't worry about the fact that there are decimals inside of that fraction. That's okay. Fraction to decimal. If we think about the notation, then we can discover how to convert from fraction to decimal. So 4/5 can also be tipped to be rewritten as 4/5. Well, that symbol just means division. Either of those symbols for division is fine. We do the division, 4/5 is equivalent to 0.8. Now, a common mistake here is sometimes reversing the order. So you'll notice that if you do 4 divided by 5, you get 0.8. But if you do 5 divided by 4, then you get 1.25. And you can always take a quick second to check to see if you did that division correctly just by looking at the original fraction. Should 4/5 be smaller than 1? Or should it be bigger than 1? 4 pieces when there are 5 pieces in a whole means that you don't have a whole. You would need 5 pieces to make a whole, but you only have 4, which means that fraction better be less than 1. And this works every time. It's a very easy way to catch a very common mistake. If you do the division backwards, then one way gives you more than 1, one way gives you less than 1. Check to see what your answer should be, thinking about it in fraction form. Okay, percent to decimal, combine percent to fraction, and then fraction to decimal. So 65%, that's equivalent to 65 divided by 100. 65 divided by 100 is 0.65, or 65 hundredths. Decimal to percent. In standard form, a decimal is per 1. So we need to convert that to per 100. So 4 7/10, that's the same as 4 7/10 divided by 1, per 1. Dividing by 1 doesn't change a number, so that's 4.7 divided by 1. Well, I can use equivalent fractions to convert that per 100. So if I have 4.7 for every 1, then I need to do that 100 times to do per 100. So my 4.7 then 100 times becomes 470. 470 over 100 is 470%. 0.0893 is the same as 0.0893 over 1. Again, dividing by 1 doesn't change the number. So if I have that much for every 1, then I need to figure out how much per 100. So I need that 100 times. So then I get 8.93 per 100. So that's 8.93%, or 8 93 hundredths percent. Or decimal to percentage, think about how many hundredths there are. So 42 Here's the hundredths place. So 0.42 is 42 hundredths. 42 hundredths is 42 over 100, which is 42%. 0.057, here's my hundredths place. So I have 5 hundredths. So I have 5.7 hundredths. So then I have 5.7 over 100, which is 5.7%. 1.3, my hundredths place is here. So that's 130 hundredths. 130 over 100 is 130%. Fraction to percent. You can combine fraction to decimal and decimal to percent. 3/4. Turn that into a decimal by doing 3 divided by 4, 0.75. That's 75 hundredths. That's 75%. Or, you need to rewrite the fraction to have a common denominator of 100. 4/5. Well, if I have 4, every time I have 5, then to turn that into 50, that would be 10 times. So I would need 10 times that. And then to turn 50 into 100, I would need to double it. So the 4 becomes a 40, and then the 40 becomes an 80. So this was the idea of scaling that we talked about when we first talked about percentages. So the hot chocolate example where Boston was 2,500 people and Holyoke was 50 people, and we could scale it to 100 people. If you have a nice denominator that you can see a clear, fairly simple path to get to 100, do it. Another example, if you have 15 for every 300 or 15 out of 300, then you're going to scale that down to 100. So you're going to take 1/3 of that. So that's going to be the equivalent of 5 over 100. So these three forms of numbers are related, very closely related. Take as many steps as you need. It is not about doing it fast. It is about comprehension.